It wasn't that common that people are now sick at a very young age. You
Yeah.
know, cancer and heart disease and diabetes, and it's happening to so many people in so many families at such a young age, and it has to do with our lifestyle. It has to do with the stress and the food that we're eating.
Welcome to Happiness for Humanity. I'm Rania Badreldin, the happiness consultant from Egypt. Join me and my guests for an hour of meaningful conversations for a happier world. Joining me today is Fayrouz Eid, and Fayrouz is a nutritionist. She's a wellness entrepreneur. She's the founder of Well B, which is a service-based company that helps people live better and healthier lives. Thank you so much for joining me today, Fayrouz.
Thank you, Rania. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy that we're going to be having this conversation. I'd love to hear more about the work you do and a little bit more about just you as Fayrouz. And of course, we have a long hour, inshallah, of conversation, but I'd be really interested, and I think our audience would be interested to know your wellness journey.
My wellness journey started maybe 12 years ago. I had nothing to do with nutrition, or I was just living in this really skinny body that I thought this is what health is. And I had no idea that it had nothing to do with my nutrition. I got married, I gained weight, I gained 30 kilos. And then I just decided then that I want to read about nutrition. I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to lose it fast, just like anyone who gains weight. And I think by Googling that, how to lose weight fast, this is how far I was. I started to read about it, and then I bought my first book ever. I had never been a reader. Like, I never used to read books outside of school. And I found this passion, and I had already graduated with a mass comm degree from AUC, and I wasn't too happy with it. I just felt like I wanted to do more. And after finding this passion of reading about nutrition, I decided, why not go back to school? Why not study this for myself, for my kids, for my family? I had no idea what I was going to do with it, but I just decided it's going to be good. Anyways, I found this distance learning program at University of Alabama in the US, and I did it. I started doing that online, and I studied food science and nutrition. And I started to lose the weight, of course, a very healthy weight. It took me a year to lose maybe about 18 to 20 kilos. And it wasn't the weight that I lost. I think, so many of I unlearned a lot of the things that I thought were supposed to be how we live our lives. I gained better sleep. I gained better health, energy. I used to have really bad mood swings and so on. And then that just completely changed my career. It changed everything. From that point, everything changed.
I can imagine that's quite a shift, and it's an important one. And I still think it's mind-boggling that we have to, on our own, figure all these things out when supposedly many of us have been privileged enough to have good educations.
Right.
And yet we spend so much of our lives learning about food and movement and sleep and researching things and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. Where I think these things are like at the core of our well-being. I really think they should be part of our educational system. That's a whole other conversation. But not everybody does all that work, takes the time to do it. It's a lot of work. You took the time because you had the need.
Yeah.
Some people look for quick fixes, as you said, and that's obviously
a quick fix.
yeah,
I mean, it started like that.
of course, because we hear that it's possible. What we don't see is behind the scenes of the adverse effects that can come with the fact that it's not sustainable and that all that weight can come back on if you're not actually building healthy habits. So of course, yeah, why wouldn't we want the easy way out or the quickest way? It just needs to be, I think, the healthiest way. I mean, I'm sure you believe that, and you can obviously tell us a little bit about what that means to you and sort of what you teach, because I know that with Well B, you offer nutrition programs, so you obviously now are teaching what you have learned, which I always think is lovely for us to actually go through life learning things and then passing that knowledge on. So what would you say your top learnings were?
I about living a healthy life, you mean?
Mm,
I have to say that it's what you define it for yourself. I think wellness is what I define it for me. I can tell you that eating a salad for this meal, you can drink the green smoothie, you can do all these things, and they don't feel good. Maybe they don't
yeah,
feel good for you. So I think health or wellness is finding, and you have to find it. I can give you some tools as like your nutritionist, but you have to explore those tools and say, yeah, this worked for me. I'm going to take this and I'm going to create this formula where this is my routine. And then knowing that you can adapt to new routines. You can't have the same routine all year. You know, we have 4 seasons in the year. You have to change your routine. So I think defining what that is for you and finding it as you experience life, as your life and changes and you go through different phases in your life.
yeah. That makes absolute sense. It's not always easy, and sometimes we struggle with it. The bottom line is we have relationships with everything, and we that means that we also have a relationship with food. So we have relationships with ourselves, we have a relationship with ourselves, with other people, we have a relationship with money, with our perception of exercise and food. And for many of us, we never really stop and think, what is my relationship with food? How do I perceive food? What do I go to food for?
Yeah.
Do I go to it as a fuel, or do I go for as a comfort? Or how is, what's the relationship between me and food? How does it fit within my life? Is that what I think serves me best, or is there, a better way to relate to food? So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know that when I was talking to you before we got on the show, we were talking about healing. And I would like to hear what you mean by healing our relationship with food.
I think this is one of my favorite topics when it comes to nutrition. If you think about it, some people eat 5 times a day, which is 3 meals and 2 snacks, let's say. It's the one thing that we do every single day. You work out maybe once a day, once a week. You go to sleep بالليل وتصحي الصبح. You can have a relationship with your friend and you see her once a month. It's the one relationship that's happening every single day. And it's the one relationship that is affected by so many things around it. So I think we were all brought up that we have to depend on our willpower. You know, anyone who wants to diet, who wants to lose weight, to gain weight, to change their lifestyle, they're like, oh, بس أنا ما عنديش الإرادة. I don't have the willpower. And I think it's the biggest lie that we've been told. And I think it's the most unfair thing that we can do to ourselves to think that this whole journey is dependent on that one thing, on that willpower. What people don't know is that there are different types of hunger. So when we talk about our relationship with food, we think إن إحنا I'm hungry all the time. No, you have 7 types of hungers. So you have physical hunger, where physically you need food. I need to eat, and this is the energy that I need to survive. It's energy. I need this energy physically. The second one is nutritional hunger, where your body needs certain nutrition throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the phases of our lives. You know, when we talk about women, we need different types of iron throughout from if you're 18 years old, you need iron in a certain amount, if you're younger, and so on. That's the nutritional need. I need certain vitamins, minerals, protein, carbs, fats, and that's why a lot of people are like, I'm eating all the time, but I'm hungry. And it's because our bodies we're getting so used to eating processed foods, empty, empty nutrient food. It's high in calories, it's low in nutrients. So
Yes.
whatever I feed my body, it's like, no, I still need more. You haven't given me the magnesium. If you're stressed out, your body absorbs a lot of the nutrients, the vitamins, so you need more magnesium. فهتقعدي بقى to crave chocolate. And I'm craving chocolate all the time. And then we say, I have no willpower, you know? The third type of hunger is one that I think most people don't know that they're going through, but it's hormonal hunger. Very, very common. أنا مثلا, let's say when I'm not sleeping well, all of us, it affects our our hormones, اللي هو الهرمون بتاع الشبع والجوع, the one where you feel full and the one where you feel hungry. So if you don't sleep well, you wake up, what are you craving? You're craving carbs. You're craving حاجات فيها sugar. Why? Because انتي physically your body has دلوقتي الهرمون بتاع الجوع عالي. You're more hungry
Okay.
physically. It's not your willpower. It's your body
Yeah.
helping you to survive. Okay.
Mm.
On your period, hormone when you're stressed, the cortisol level بيعلى. This is hormonal hunger. You have another type of hunger, which is ايه تاني hormone social hunger. You ate, and your body's full, you're
Yeah.
physically full, and then you see a friend and you want to connect with that friend.
Yes.
You want to sit and have coffee and let's have maybe a piece of cake we can share together. That's social hunger. It's not willpower. It's I love
Um,
my friend. I want to connect with her. And احنا our culture كمان, a lot of the things that we gather عليها is based on food. We go
yes.
out to eat, we invite people to eat, we go to weddings to eat, and
And it's
it's
fun.
fun and we should enjoy it.
Yes.
And then we have another, I lost count, I don't know, but we
Okay,
have,
wait. You said okay. So seven types. So hunger and nutritional need and hormonal and social. Those
yes.
are the ones. Yeah.
Oh, and then we have sensory hunger. So we don't cook our food anymore. We're always on the go. We're always buying already cut up fruit, cut up salad. كل حاجة is ready made. And this is why كتير قوي we have this sensory hunger. So have you noticed that when you cook your own meals, you're the one person at the dinner table that eats the least amount of food,
That's true. I do. That's true.
right?
Yes.
Anyone, right? Why? عشان انتي when you're cooking, you're feeding your all your different senses. So you're touching the food, you're cutting the vegetables. خلاص?
Yes.
You put the garlic with the oil and you can hear the
Yeah, and
sizzling.
it sounds so. I love it. I love that sound.
Right? You love that sound. And then you can
Yes.
smell it. It's
Yes,
going
it's lovely. Yes.
smelling, okay? So what happens is that you're feeding all these senses, your eyes, and then by the time you sit at your dinner table, you're almost خلاص full فاضل بطني. I'm only gonna
Yeah,
feed.
it's true. I never knew that. I never knew that that's what it was. But I honestly feel like I've had the experience. I'm pretty satisfied, and I don't really need to eat as much when I finally sit at the table. Yeah, that's true.
So one of the things that I do in my programs is that I actually ask people to at least cook one meal during the week, just as a start. You can't make someone change their entire lives overnight, but you can start with small steps. And I always say that small wins or small changes are, sorry, big changes are small changes plus time. So if you take small changes, give it time, this is what ends up saying, oh my God, my life transformed.
Yeah.
So start with one meal. And then there's the habit hunger, where I'm so used to sitting in front of the TV and I just have to snack on something. I'm
Yes.
so used to this time of the day, I have my cup of coffee. No way, I cannot start my day without my cup. It's a habit, right?
Yes.
And then there's the last one, which I think is the monster. And I think it's the one where everyone deals with, whether they know it or not. It's the emotional hunger,
Yeah.
where we are human beings, we are affected by everything that happens around us. I think we got so used to living under stress that we think that this has become the norm. We have normalized living this very stressful life, and we're just responding to stress, thinking that the survival mode that we're on, most of us, and the space that we're living in, has become our normal lives. And then what happens when we're emotionally when we have any type of feelings, whether it's, by the way, whether it's something that is making me happy or sad. And see, when you're happy and you're excited, it affects the choices of your food. And when you're sad and when you're angry and when you're hurt, it affects برضو the choices of your food. So
Yes.
we leave all of this, all of these things that I talked about, and we're like, yeah, I have no willpower.
Yeah, that's so valid. I mean, I didn't know there were those many types of hunger, to be honest. But yes, you're right. I think it's not very compassionate towards ourselves
Yeah.
to just say that it's about
So
willpower.
the first step, I think, to healing our relationship with food, I would have to say, it's not kindness, because that's not going to come if you don't have the awareness. So the first step is learning, unlearning to learn, having the awareness, reading, for even like just going on social media and following some credible Instagram accounts, if this is where you want to
Yes.
start. Just educating yourself, because at the end of the day, like we're saying, it's the one thing that you do 5 times a day. Why not
Yeah.
learn about it? So having this awareness, it affects how you feel about it. Like I always say that you can't make any changes outside of a feeling, because a feeling or an emotion is energy in motion. I'm
Yes.
angry, I'm hating my body. Okay, I'm gonna start the diet tomorrow. And once this motion goes, once this energy goes out of my body, so will the diet. What's gonna sustain with you is awareness,
Yeah.
knowing that, all right, I need to change some things. طيب, why do I need to change? خلاص, I learned that there are different types of hunger. But I'm not gonna be blaming myself that I'm weak. No, I'm not weak. I just didn't know. And when I know better, I do better.
Absolutely. And also, not only is the person not weak, they're also surrounded by incredible amounts of
Yeah.
products and marketing, and it's unbelievable the amounts of things, many of them processed, unhealthy foods that are around us. So it and okay, maybe there's an element of willpower, but it's just like we're overloaded, and so I think once we become aware of, you know, more about our body, understanding our body better, and then sort of realizing that it's I guess more about the little choices I make consistently, and those choices add up.
Yes.
But I just want to ask you something, because you mentioned 5 times a day, and like for me, when I tried at some point, of course I've tried different things at different points. I left the whole concept of dieting many years ago, so that I got out of like maybe 15 years ago. Although when I was younger, I had tried diets. Then I obviously, I came to learn that that's not what it's about. It's just about replacing certain things that you love with other certain things that you can love, that just made with healthier ingredients. So I got to understand more about that. But when I tried to follow this idea of 5 times a day, it didn't work for me. Like I found like I was, for my body, I have a pretty small body. I mean, I'm pretty short. It just was too much food, I guess. And it wasn't like, even when the quantities weren't a lot, and even when the quality on the nutritional value in the foods was high, I still felt that that didn't work for me. It was just too much intake.
It is that I'm saying 5 times a day because that's what people eat when they're not getting the right nutrition. So they're
Oh,
always
okay. So I that's what I wanted to ask you. So I thought
no,
you were
no.
saying that that's, oh, okay,
بالعكس,
okay.
I'm not for snacking in between meals. I'm
Okay,
for having 3 proper meals where you're
okay.
full, you're getting the right amount of protein, carbs, fats, and in between your meals, especially for people who want to lose weight, this is when weight loss happens, where I'm
Yeah,
not
exactly. Yeah.
I'm drinking water. And
Yes.
that's it, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm saying 5 times because most people are not getting like we said, the nutritional hunger is really high. Their emotionally hunger, their hormonal, all these things are affecting their hunger cues. But I'm hungry all day. I will eat
Right.
and I'll
Okay. Yeah. And then that's an interesting point, which also, that means that if I'm emotionally hunger, I could satisfy that emotional hunger without food, right? I could then satisfy it
yeah,
with
yeah.
social connection, with getting out into nature and hugging a tree or whatever, right? I mean,
Yeah, in one of our sessions, the program that we're doing, and I think, you also learn to teach people in better ways as you go through different
yeah, yeah.
experiences. So while doing this for the past 10 years, I'm like, all right, most people, because I don't do one-on-one, I do group challenges. And because I've always believed that community and that support is what keeps us going. So I noticed that most people actually enter the programs for the support. It's not for the diet, because the diet works until it doesn't. What continues with you are the habits and the mindset changes that you do. So for the first time, I launched this program and I was so scared, to be honest, to do it, because I'm telling people you're gonna lose weight, but I'm not gonna tell you what to eat.
Yeah.
I'm only going to help you. We have like this habit tracker that's gonna help them set their body up for success where it has to do with sleep, with movement, with doing things that are for your gut health, with like just, you know, like 7 habits that we do every single day. It sets your body up for success. And I'm not going to tell you what to eat. I'm not going to tell you 2 eggs for breakfast and a quarter of a baladi. I'm going to give you recipe ideas. I'm going to give you a formula and you decide what to eat. And then there was so much resistance in the beginning.
Yes.
From they were resistant because they're like, no, I need you. We're so used to like, what is
We're
it that
used.
this is what I'm gonna do. And surprisingly, Aronia, people are like, for the first time in my life, I want to eat right because I want to, not because you're telling me what to eat, you know?
Yes. Yeah,
But
absolutely. You know, I agree, and I can understand that there be resistance because you're not used to that. I mean, I've never gone to a doctor for
yeah,
purposes of losing weight or anything like that. But I know that when you go, you get like a whole plan written out for you. And the thing is, every individual is just that. They're an individual. And I have things I like, you have things you like. My diet, I don't know. Do you actually call it a diet or you call it a nutritional plan? Because,
no, I don't call it a diet, but
yeah, okay.
people call it what they're used to. So everyone says
Yeah,
it's a
okay.
أنا بقول it's a program. It's
Yeah,
a
right.
spelling is
So,
not a diet.
so I think الشطارة يعني the smart way to go about it, I would say, based on what you're saying, is that I can actually literally make a list of the things that I already like that are healthy. I mean, the healthiest items from the things I like,
بالظبط.
and sort of focus on those, and then maybe start to introduce to my diet things that I don't normally have, but that I don't hate, at least, right? So, and then I probably will find that I'll start to like them. That's what I've noticed, because I feel like our taste buds change when we start eating healthier. It's like I feel
Or
like the body helps us like healthier things and want healthier things.
there are so many things that if we find out about the industry of products or like the processed foods, you'd be surprised. Like there's something called the Bliss Point when they're trying to make a product where they find the perfect amount of fats and sugar and salt to add to a product where they make it addictive. So the more you eat the chips, you're like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm gonna keep, you can't stop eating it. And it's not your body, it's the processed, you know,
Yeah.
well, it's the process of making all these foods, you know?
It's the
And
addictive properties in them as well,
yeah, yeah,
which is another point towards your comment about it's not just about willpower. I mean, it sometimes can be, but it really we have addictive products all around us. So
we
part
do.
of it is that, yeah.
We do. I've been trying to build this product for the past 2 years. 2 years. And the more I go into the industry, the more I go out of it running. Like it just doesn't make sense. You know, it doesn't make sense that now, yes, people are more aware about their health and they want to eat healthier and they're making products in the supermarket where it's claiming to be healthy, where like they
Yeah,
use terms like all natural, and then you turn the product and it's just completely processed, you know? And people don't
yeah.
know.
And of course, the marketing doesn't help when people just literally, they, like you said, they jump onto these trends to whatever people. So, like, you could almost like see an apple that says gluten free, like, duh, it's an apple. We know it's, it's like, seriously. So, you feel like you just want to plaster on these
في
words.
حاجة او كوليسترول فري. طب ما هو ماشي، ما هو فيجن اصلا، ما هو حاجة
And
نباتية يبقى
yeah,
كوليسترول.
yeah, it's like they're making it harder for the average consumer to identify even what's healthy, what isn't, because there are claims of things to be healthy when they're just really repackaged. I mean, so it's which is the conclusion I kind of reached, and I'm not saying I do this all the time, but but what I kind of felt that I learned is, you know, the simplest possible, the closest possible to nature. So if I can, for a, you know, a large part of my eating be fruits and vegetables, so these are grown on trees, right? So if I can have a lot of fruits and vegetables, maybe nuts and seeds, if they don't bother me, they might bother some people. And reduce, I try, I don't always do that, but reducing obviously sugars, that's number one. And then of course what I guess they're called the refined carbs, because
Yeah,
carbs are in fruits and vegetables as well. So but I mean like the carbs that aren't
yeah.
like bread, and which I do love, by the way.
It's
So
in the
but
cake,
but
the cookies, these are all
yeah,
in. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so cakes and cookies, and then of course all the that literal junk stuff, like the stuff that you'll just find in kushki, and you just go and you'll find what, chocolates and candies and stuff like that. Like I definitely pushed all that away, but still, but of course there's an age. With age as well, metabolism, I guess, slows down. I don't know if that's like, is that a thing? Does it slow down for everybody, or there are ways
The
to
weight,
mitigate against that? But
one of the best ways is to lift weights.
lift weights. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there
ومش
another best way? Because like I don't, that doesn't sound very exciting.
مش weights قوي يعني حتى
Oh,
ان انت go to the gym and يعني
yeah,
you should see the amount of weights that I do. It looks funny, but to me it's just it's
yeah.
building muscle mass in your body. I
And that
think
helps. So the muscle mass
it
is
helps you.
directly related to the
Yes,
metabolism.
yes, it helps you. And
Ah,
then
okay.
having, I think having a balanced meal plan in general, hydrating, drinking water. Some things do help, like green tea, but مش the green tea that is for دلوقتي في all the coffee shops that's like matcha with all this like condensed
Yeah,
milk. They take something so good and they turn it into something so addictive and really high in sugar, like you're saying. And all these things affect our metabolism. One of the things that most people should know about is the artificial sweeteners,
yeah,
the diet sugar,
yeah,
like
yeah,
it affects our metabolism, it affects our taste. Like you were just saying, when you start eating healthy, your taste buds, they change. They do,
yeah.
because these things,
They
they
do.
make you taste like, let's say an apple is very sweet. It is very sweet. And you start taking these artificial sweeteners in your life, and like a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, 3, 4 times a day, you're thinking it's 0 calories. By time this apple, it's not going to be sweet, because already the artificial sweeteners are 1,000 times sweeter than regular sugar. So what I
Yes.
always say is switch to sugar, just sugar, and then go less and less and less. So it's a natural thing,
Gradual.
gradual
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. No, I agree. I've noticed that when I've done different programs through the years, whether it was a juice detox or a juice and smoothie week or whatever, even a water, 3 days of just water. I've done different things, and I can't remember which one of them, but one of them I'll never forget this. After it, of course, when you do that, you're not gonna just suddenly eat tons of things, and you want to sort of introduce things, slowly,
Yeah.
one at a time, and give your body a chance to adjust and actually to learn about your body. It's wonderful actually when you do one of those, like if you're really sort of cleansing and then you introduce one new item, you can actually notice how it affects you, and whether it fuels you and gives you energy, or whether it gives you some sort of aches or pains or heartburn or whatever. And it's a very powerful, and that's a very individual thing, which is why I was advised once to keep like a little journal of how food affects my body. But of course, it's hard to do it now if you're eating everything all at one time, and it's easy to do it when you've sort of done a clean eating program and then introduce things one at a time. But anyway, my story was that before I
I
had
would
done this
say
program,
it's true. It's called the
yeah,
elimination diet, but the
yes,
opposite.
exactly. بالضبط صح. So anyway, what I was wanting to get to is that previous to that program, I was somebody who was still eating like chocolates, like from the supermarket, like Snickers or whatever. I haven't had those in a long time, but I remember that the first time after this program, or maybe, okay, maybe it was only juice. There was no food at all, no biting, okay, no
Yeah.
chewing. And so the first time after it, I had a cucumber, literally just a cucumber. And I swear that cucumber tasted to me like a Snickers bar. It was just, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
It's like there are other times when I look at a cucumber, it's like, I'm not going to eat that. I have other delicious things to eat. Why would I eat that, that silly cucumber? But at that time, I really felt I'm just biting into this delicious thing. And that actually, it's just the body helps you appreciate that vegetable more.
أنا بالظبط I believe that ربنا خلقنا يعني our bodies are very smart. They know what
Yeah.
they need and they know how to survive. And if we just give it a chance to do what it does best. يعني أنا مثلا one of the things that I do is detox programs. My program is not making you detox. It's helping your body go into a state where it does the detoxing for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you're saying, if we just give our bodies this chance to go back to its natural state, it knows best. It knows exactly how much food you need throughout the day. You don't need to be counting calories and having someone tell you what to eat. How did our great grandparents survive?
Yeah.
And look at the diseases now. The diseases that we're seeing, the chronic diseases, these are not new diseases, but it wasn't that common that people are now sick at a very young age. You
Yeah.
know, cancer and heart disease and diabetes, and it's happening to so many people in so many families at such a young age, and it has to do with our lifestyle. It has to do with the stress and the food that we're eating, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And you reminded me when you said that because I once, maybe 15 years ago, was at a seminar, a big event actually, and there was a doctor speaking, and she knew a lot about nutrition, and she was actually explaining how, at the time at least, doctors didn't study nutrition, which is why nutrition wasn't really discussed as it wasn't something we really knew much about. And she actually said that if we only knew how much we could do with just food choices, our bodies, as you said, our bodies are designed to heal themselves.
Yeah.
They're created to eat certain types of foods. And if they primarily have those types of foods, then they'll be in a constant state of healing themselves. But if we then start to put in too much of the food that the body is not
Food.
designed to thrive with, then we're basically overloading the body, and then it just can't do its job of healing and detoxing continuously. But she was actually saying if we do it right, what she was saying was that we would not need doctors at all. We wouldn't need to.
You
We
don't
wouldn't
need
get sick.
to tell you what to do. You don't need doctors. And I think if you look at like one of the now, like I wouldn't call it a trend because it's not a trend, but it's the intermittent fasting. What's the main thing behind intermittent fasting that's so good for your body? It gives your body a break.
Yes.
Detoxing. What's the best thing that detoxing does for your body? It gives your body a break.
Yeah.
We are not built to be eating all day, every day, snacking in between meals. The convenience of food now is making it so hard to say no.
Yeah.
It's convenient, all types of foods everywhere you go, the delivery apps. It's just so easy to be eating all day. And then our bodies are not made for that. The
No.
digestion takes so much of our energy, digesting the animal protein and the meat and the cold, the cuts or the turkey or all day, every day. You're not made to be digesting food.
Yeah, and I know that when we don't feel as good, so if we're feeling sad or depressed or anxious or whatever, everybody's different, of course, but our relationship with food shifts during that time. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that because for one, there was a time, about a year ago, a year and a half, a few years ago, I was sort of at my lowest. And the last thing I wanted to think about then was to also, improve my food and to grow.
More pressure, like I need to
Yeah, it's
eat
like
salad.
seriously, just like leave me alone. Like, خلاص, I have enough to deal with. I'm not going to also pressure myself into making these healthy choices. And the thing is, though, it's difficult, but that's part of our self-care. We just need to think about it as self-care, and self-care is one of the things that sort of goes when we're not feeling well. We tend not to take care of ourselves well, and so I don't know what the solution is, but I do know that at those times when we're emotionally feeling the worst, it actually serves us to have our body help us. If our body is in good shape because maybe our mind isn't, then that's just going to help us. It's just going to help us be able to go through that hardship easier. And if our body is now overloaded as well with toxins or with whatever, then it's just perpetuating this idea of us, feeling worse. And I think it's difficult to make those choices during that time. So I'm not sure what the solution is, but probably to apply those habits to incorporate the healthy habits when we're feeling better, and so that we have more of a chance of maintaining them, for example, or what?
I think remember when we were saying that wellness is defining what it is for you? I think at those times you need to redefine what it means to take care of yourself. Like I'm gonna tell you, 2 years ago, 2 years and a half, I was in that same place that you're talking about. I was in a very low moment time in my life, and I was eating actually really well, but I was eating too much of it. Avocados, sourdough bread, hummus. Like I wish I had gained weight eating other stuff, but I gained
Yeah,
good
exactly.
food. So I was extra taking care of myself. But so I gained 9 kilos over the course of maybe 6 months. I gained 9 kilos and I didn't care. That's not how I defined my wellness at that time. I defined it as, all right, I'm giving my body nutrients. I'm giving it good fats, I'm giving it good carbs, I'm giving it good quality food, but I wasn't in a place to say, oh, I need to stop snacking. I knew I wasn't in a good place. So I redefined what that meant. I knew I was gaining weight. I knew it. And I had another priority, which was to take care of my mental well-being at that time, which was to feel the comfort. And I knew it was emotional eating. What happened at that time is that I ended up going to a doctor because I have two sisters, we're three sisters. One of my sisters a couple of years ago gained maybe 15 kilos or 20 kilos. And she thought she had just gotten married. And when you get married, you put on a few kilos and it's the social hunger that you want to connect with someone. And she was eating right, she was working out, she was doing everything, and she kept gaining the weight. She ended up going to this doctor and she did some tests وطلع عندها حاجة اسمها cushion syndrome. It's where your cortisol level goes, to the sky. And no
Okay.
matter what you do, no matter what you work out, you eat your salads, you are on a diet, you're not going to lose the weight. You need to actually remove something physically from your body to help you heal. So she ended up doing a surgery and then she lost all the weight. خلاص. طبعا دايما we have to rule out the physiological part of it. خلاص. I have another sister, Bordo. She gained weight and she tried to lose it. She started eating really well and she wasn't losing the weight. She went to the same doctor and he did some tests and she ended up actually, she was diagnosed with a thyroid tumor. She had cancer and she had to do a surgery. Alhamdulillah, she did the surgery. Everything went fine. And she
Good.
ended up losing the weight. خلاص. But when I gained weight, I'm like, all right, time to go to the doctor. Okay, doctor, let's see what it is. So I walk in and then he looks at me. He's like, you're fine, but you're stressed. You're stressed as hell. Okay, you look like it. I'm gonna have you do some tests عشان انتي ترتاحي بس you're fine. انت ما فيش
Okay.
حاجه. كشف عليا وكده قال لي الحمد لله ما فيش حاجه بس do the test and you'll see that you're stressed out. فانا ساعتها I knew I was stressed بس not to that point برضو. قعد معايا and he said I want you to start thinking about all the small things that we can do together. فhe said ساعتها play classical music. I said, yeah, I listen to music. No, he's like, no, classical music. There's so much research and studies around classical music and how it helps you de-stress. I just want you to play it. Forget about your playlist for now. Play that music and just trust me. I started to do that. He's like, I want you to take 15 minutes of walking. I don't want you to go to work out. مش عايزك to go to the gym, lift weights. Don't do any of that. Just move, walk. And you already know what to eat. خلاص, if you got this under control and you're eating too much of it, it's fine. You're not eating chips and all this nonsense. You're eating the food and the time will come where you will start to eat less of it. فساعتها what I'm saying is I redefined what it means to take care of myself.
Yeah,
And
that's
these
really,
small
yeah.
things, that really mattered.
And also, you said something very important that, yes, for a period of time, you were prioritizing your mental health, and it wasn't a problem if you gained a few kilos, because also that takes us to another point, which is sometimes I feel there's an over obsession with gaining weight, and it can have like negative effects on people to see this overemphasis on our weight, and it leads to body shaming, it leads to comparing ourselves to other people, and we don't need that. We're beautiful people as we are, and we're not beautiful because we're thinner or because our tummy is whatever. It's nothing to do with that. We're beautiful because of who we are as people, right? And a lot of that is out there though on social media, and a lot of people struggle with their body image because of that. So what do you think about that in general?
I think again, like the willpower, diet culture is the yo-yo dieting. I think this is the relationship that we have with food. I gained weight, I'm gonna lose weight. I gained weight, I'm gonna lose weight. And my summer body, the summer goals
Mm,
of fitting in my weight. It's the way, Bardo, honestly, we were exposed to the magazine covers and the
yeah.
body shaming and the media, and it really affected the way that we talk to ourselves and the way that we think. But I think we should be kind, برضو, and this is not coming out of nowhere. It's coming out of years of being exposed to all the wrong things to think about our bodies. I would say that, again, going back and being kind to ourselves, having that compassion towards your goals. Like I said, when I gained weight, I didn't care about the number. I feel good at a certain amount of weight. I know that. I feel my best. My movement, my sleep, my energy. And that's what I say. Like when you're trying to eat healthy, don't look down, look up, because when you look down, you're looking at the scale, you're looking at a number. And you're missing out on all the things that if you look up by just eating right without that one thing that we're looking at, which is the weight number, you can have better sleep. You can have a better relationship with yourself. You can have, consistent energy, stronger, longer, more beautiful hair, your skin. So there's so much more to eating right than just weight loss will come. If someone wants to lose weight, it will come. But with it, there's so many other gains that we can get.
Yeah, and it sounds from what you're saying that, which I agree with, that weight loss then isn't really the ultimate goal, because what we really want, I mean, and I suppose if one really thinks about it, what they want is to live a healthier, happier life, probably, and that includes a body that serves you well, that helps you do the things you want to do, and so part of taking care of that body, that'll differ from one person to another, but part of taking care of it is keeping it in a shape that serves you. And it doesn't have to be the same shape for everybody. We come in all different shapes and sizes, and I think that's part of our beauty. And maybe that's part of the solution is really to work on redefining beauty.
Yes, redefining it and just, I think, loving our bodies through it all. Yani only when you really accept yourself, you accept your feelings and you accept everything and you surrender to that, it's when things just
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah. And I think that's also something sometimes people struggle with, is like, you want me to accept it, but I don't want to accept it because I want to
Change it.
change it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can accept it first, and then you can work. Accept doesn't mean that it has to stay the way it is. I think that's maybe what people get
No,
confused about.
I think once you accept something, you start to trust the process.
Yeah, exactly. And
Comes after acceptance.
yeah, and then also that means that you're doing it because you want to, because you have a vision of how you want to feel and look, and it comes out of a more positive emotion rather than, oh, I have to do this or I should do this. And I think in general, things shouldn't be done out of shoulds, and
Yeah.
certainly they should be done for an inner purpose, not because society says so or that somebody else thinks so. And I think the same applies to food. I mean,
Yeah. I think I've noticed something is that when I do programs, like I've been doing programs for 10 years. So when I do a program where I say this program is going to help you sleep better, it's going to help you be happier, no one cares. And then when you say this program is going to help you lose weight, oh my God. And it's the same thing, more or less. But خلاص, it's I found honestly that this is my way into someone's mind, is because one of the things is weight loss, and this is what people want to hear. And then when they trust you and they trust the process and they trust themselves, everything else comes with it, and they start to see it how it's supposed to be seen.
yeah, I mean, that's fair enough, and I mean, it's fine if somebody wants to lose weight. I think you're right. I mean, address what they want at this minute or what they think is the goal, and maybe it is the goal, that's fine too. But then also give it a more, you're giving it a more holistic approach. You're making it more about overall wellness. And I think that is where the healthier aspects start to come in. And I love the way that you said, I'm not sure exactly how you said it, but that it wasn't about weight for you. It was about, that there's a certain weight of your body that feels good to you. And it's not about what the number is. It's just what
No,
feels good to you.
I don't own a scale. I have no idea.
You don't? Oh, I love that.
I don't own a scale. I don't weigh myself. I know from the way that I feel. I keep mentioning sleep because if we were to look at, let's say this is our health is in this pyramid, okay? The base of our health is sleep. If you're not sleeping well, forget about your nutrition and forget about any kind of exercise that you do. So I keep mentioning sleep because this is a big indicator of your health. If you can't sleep at night, if you're having interrupted sleep, if you're not having good quality sleep, it affects everything, So I can tell if I'm in a good place by the way that I'm sleeping and how I fall asleep, by the way that I fit into my own my skin, feeling that, comfortable in my own skin. It's
So
my energy.
do you have any sleep tips?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
we have a sleep protocol in our program. So there's a lot of things that we can do, but we've summarized it into maybe 4 things. Okay. So one thing is that I think we all love coffee. I think we all love to drink our coffee, is we ask people to stop drinking coffee at 4 p.m. So it really interrupts your sleep. Even if you sleep all night, and you don't wake up in the middle of the night, it's interrupting your sleep. So one of the things is that we ask people if they're drinking 3 cups of coffee to maybe minimize it to 2 or 1, and then stop drinking coffee or any caffeine at 4 p.m. We ask people to have their last meal 4 hours before they sleep because you don't want to be interrupting your sleep, digesting the food that you just had. But you see how it's all connected?
yes.
Food, the coffee, your lifestyle, the way that you sleep. Of course, the phones, keeping our phones outside of our bedroom or just not being exposed خالص to our screens. برضو
This is
there's
like for half an hour or something before sleep, you mean?
for half
Or
an hour before sleep, مثلا. Some people detox for more, some people stop holding their phones at 7 p.m. And I can't do that. I wish I can, but I can't do
yeah,
that.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. برضو the light that you're exposed to in your bedroom, so just sleeping in a dark pitch room, it really helps you. إيه تاني؟ يعني this is like just
Yeah.
basic way of starting out. It really
Yes,
helps.
that's good because we don't always talk about the tie-ins between things, and everything is connected.
Connected. It's all
Yeah,
connected. Your
absolutely.
health is connected to the playtime that you have. Do you play? Do you take time to play? And by play, I mean, do you just sit and like look at the clouds and see if there's shapes in the clouds? That's really good for your gut health.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's all the little simple things that we think are like, yeah, 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 I know. Yeah, yeah, it's good to sit in the sun. What else? Nothing else. That's all you need.
Yeah, and actually, I felt like you're, in a way, you were talking to me because I know a lot of these things, because some of these things, or all of these things, are actually part of the happiness boosting practices as well. So when we talk about happiness, yeah, we've got happiness boosting practices like, gratitude or journaling or meditation or whatever. But also included in happiness boosting practices are regulating your sleep and the food that you put in your body and the way your body moves, or just making sure you move. I don't like to call it exercise, just move. Those are all part of happiness as well. But even somebody who knows things or who thinks they know things doesn't mean they do them. So like, I know a lot of these things,
Yeah.
I don't do them all. So maybe that's one message for somebody who's listening in, because you just said, oh yeah, I know this. Okay, just do that one thing,
Yeah.
like just do one thing today.
It's
Like,
not secret. We're really not gatekeeping anything. There is no
yeah,
secret. It's doing the one thing consistently and then building up. In nutrition, there's something called overcrowding or crowding out. Okay?
crowding out. Yes,
Crowding
exactly.
out, where
Yes.
instead of focusing, I need to stop eating this and this and this, I'm just going to keep eating the same way. And I'm going to say, I'm going to have one salad before my lunch every day. I'm just going to
Yeah,
keep eating my fried food, whatever it is. I'm going to focus on that, adding, not removing. And by the time you're going to feel good on this, and you're going to want more from this feeling of the salad that helps you to regulate your blood sugar, and it helps you feel more full, and it's going to start tasting better.
exactly. So yeah, just for those who are listening, what crowding out means, you explained it, but I
Yeah.
don't know if we actually defined it, but it's basically you're going to just start introducing the good stuff, and then after a while, that good stuff is going to crowd out the bad stuff, and it'll start to be reduced with time. And I think that's maybe what we need, is to just slow down, give ourselves time, listen to our bodies, allow ourselves to just start putting in some of the good things without stressing ourselves out about that. I have to stop this, stop that, stop that. I mean, if you can reduce the bad things as you're introducing the good things, I suppose that's
Yeah.
that's a bonus.
And I think one of the things that I want to mention too, um, when you start healing your relationship with food, I want people to see it as if you're in a fight with a friend. You know, you have a really good friend and you guys got in a fight, and you sit and you talk to each other, and someone says hurtful things, or you have to let out what really hurts you, and it could hurt the other person. What I'm trying to say is that it gets worse before it gets better. Because a lot of people, they do these programs with me and they're like, oh my God, I'm bloated all the time. It's because you've been eating junk food and you've been eating refined carbs that don't get you bloated, okay? But they suck your energy, they take all your energy. However, when you start introducing fiber, yeah, you're going to be bloated for some time. It takes
Yeah,
time. Or I started breaking out. It gets worse before it gets better because your body releases the toxins. And when you release the toxins, it's like you have interruption in your sleep. فكل اللي بقولك عليه ده, it doesn't happen overnight or from that one
yeah,
week or 1 month. It will feel like, okay, this doesn't feel so good. Just like healing, when you start going to therapy,
exactly.
it doesn't feel good. You
Yeah,
cry and it hurts, and you know you have no energy at first. It gets worse before it gets way better. So trusting the process like we do with anything else, and trusting whoever it is that you're um, following like a program with, or you know, it needs a little push from a professional at first, and then you're good to go.
absolutely. And if you do it that way, you're you're set up for life, because you've
Love.
healed the relationship, you've discovered some healthier options out there, you've still been able to keep the things that you really love in your life, and maybe in a different format or whatever. But then it's great, and I think it's such an important point to mention, that yes, let's be prepared for things to get worse before they get better, because that's true, that's what true healing is. So
It
whether it's with food or with any other relationship,
exactly.
it might get worse before it gets better.
And you gotta trust the process.
Exactly. This was fantastic. we've
Yeah.
uh, we've had a great conversation. Let me just take another sip of water.
Here is to our health and trust
Yes.
the process.
Yes.
No, I enjoyed this so much. I love talking about nutrition, and I love talking about how we can, just like you said, we learn something, we're supposed to share it. We're not supposed to keep it. And that's how things change. And I enjoyed this. It didn't feel like it's been an hour. I enjoyed
Yeah, مش كده.
it going.
Yeah,
I love
and the
that.
reason I like talking about nutrition is because I know that the more we take care of ourselves in all the different ways that means, so sleep and movement, and what we're putting in our bodies, what we're putting on our bodies, what we're surrounding ourselves with in terms of beauty, and
Our thoughts.
that sets us up, that also helps us do the other things we do in life, whether that's work or volunteering or activism or parenting or whatever it is we're doing. We're better able to do all those things. We're better able to live true to ourselves and live true to our values when we're taking this overall holistic approach,
Yes.
and working on all aspects of our lives. So that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because it is part of happiness, and it is part of happiness for humanity as well, because for those of us who are able to also help people around us in whatever way that is, whether it's small circles or widening our circles, whether we're taking on certain causes, or whether we're teaching something we know, we'll be able to do that better when we've started with ourselves.
I think it's having the capacity in the space to and to do that, you need to have good energy. I
Yeah.
think one of the best ways to me personally that we can help other people is by praying for them. In order to do that, I need to be in a good space in my life where I'm praying for other people and I'm really, really hoping that they're living better lives. So finding that one thing that works for you, redefining what wellness is, to you, which under wellness is happiness and nutrition and movement and your relationship, and just trying that. And if it works, then keep doing it. And if it doesn't, then maybe change one thing.
Yeah.
You're not stuck to anything and you don't need to do it in a certain way.
Yes, absolutely. This was lovely. I really enjoyed it.
Amen.
If you have any, do you have any last? I think you've just said something very important.
Yeah.
And one thing, actually, just one last thing. I think maybe being aware of the difference between short-term gratification versus long-term results. That could be as well something that we can apply to all aspects of our lives. Because sometimes, yeah, we want something right now because I'm gonna feel good right this minute. It helps me though to have already set a longer term vision and make sure that that thing now also fits within that, even if it's not like perfect for that, but then I'm making a choice. At least I'm aware of the overall picture that I want, and not just going along with every short term
I think
gratification
to
goal.
that, I go back to exactly what we talked about. I think to do that, you need to find a place where you can connect and belong. I think
Yeah.
as human beings, we always want to belong to a place and connect. So if you decide to live a healthier, happier life, find the person, find someone, find the group online, find the community, belong to it, and
Yes.
connect with other people, and this will keep you going.
Yeah, definitely. And so if people want to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
So I'm on social media on Instagram. I think we can write down the
Yes.
handle for my and Well B as well, and the
Great.
website. I'm gonna send it to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this hour, and
Thank
I'm sure our audience will. Have a great day, and thanks again.
thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Join me every other Thursday for a new one. Happiness for Humanity is available on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. If you found this episode valuable, please share it. Let's come together for a happier world.